Hi there, I'm Michael Hill with Canine Chronicle TV, and I'm here with Rebecca Flood, and we're going to talk about her life lessons that she's learned through junior showmanship and showing collies. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. So let's start with how you first got started in juniors. How old were you when that started?
I started when I was 9 because my mom had wanted to get back into showing dogs. She showed dogs when she was a teenager and in her early 20s. My aunts also showed dogs, which is how my mom got into it. And so I kind of fell in line and got into it when my mom got back into it. She was like, oh, I just want one more champion. And then almost 11 years later now and got
Still
into
one more.
champions. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, just a couple more.
Just one more time.
But yeah, one more time. One more year. It's okay. So I got into it that way. Started off in Russell Terriers. Learned to show Russell Terriers with my mom. I was the first learned to handle through Doreen Tijan, who showed Rottweilers. So I learned Rottweilers and a lot of big breeds. Funny enough, prior to dog shows, I was terrified of big dogs.
Really?
So that got me completely out of my shell and over that. Loved working with the Rotties. Got to play with Golden Retrievers and for a little while. But eventually we wanted a bigger dog of our own that wasn't working or sporting. I had been interested in Shelties, but we settled on smooth collies because it wasn't as much grooming. And it was a really interesting breed to both my mom and I that we wanted to learn more about. So we got our first 2 collies from a Canadian breeder, and went from there.
Wow. And so meanwhile you were doing school, were you doing any other like extracurricular activities at the time? How did you manage all that?
Yes, at the time I was still showing horses. I started showing horses when I was 4 or 5, also because of my mom and my aunts. And that I was doing super competitively until I was about 11 or 12. I did the Marshall and Sterling Hunter Jumpers, I did EC, I did the whole 9 yards for like East Coast show circuits. So always very competitive little girl for sure. And loved being around animals because it was both a team sport and not a team sport. It was a team sport with animals, not people. So I loved that aspect.